Michael, thank you for being here today. This was a last minute thing, and you didn't know me. You only saw the coverage that we gave you, and you were somewhat reluctant, and you were like, why do I need to do this? We thought it would be great for transparency, coming up on stage after everything that's happened to talk about what your plans are for Douglas Elliman. Who are you?
Well, listen, the Fed just cut rates a quarter point, so I think everybody should go do some listings, and we should make a lot of money.
But who are you? Why don't you tell folks who you are?
Yeah, I was in the insurance business really my whole career. I've been on the board of multiple public companies. I started my first insurance business when I was 21. Ended up doing a deal with Apollo, the big private equity fund. We took that company public. It was called National Financial Partners. It was a very successful...
Can everybody hear him in the back?
Yeah?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, put it to your mouth. So
okay, yeah, it was a very successful public offering back in 2003. But in between that, I also started other insurance businesses. One was a business called Harbor Group, which was an advisory business to the lending world. So I always sat around the real estate world, and I've been involved in Douglas Elliman for a long time. I've been on the board of it for the last 4 years, and I'm just really thrilled to be leading this company.
How did you get on the board of Douglas Elliman? I mean, Douglas Elliman is a real estate brokerage. Your expertise are clearly in insurance and running businesses, but the brokerage business is sort of a unique business. I know it comes down to sales at the end of the day, but what makes you qualified to be on the board of Douglas Elliman?
Well, listen, as I mentioned, I've started, founded, multiple companies, sat on the board of other public companies, financial and non, and I've got a lot of experience in the business world. I've done it my whole life, and I'm very astute in public markets and how to operate a public company. And when this opportunity came about, it was just nothing to think about. The Douglas Elliman brand, in my opinion, is one of the most internationally known real estate brands that there is, and we're really going to take that business to the next level.
Howard was the person he bought Douglas Elliman with Dottie Herman 21 years ago, and he really poured a lot of money into it, poured a lot of effort into it. And at the time, he bought it 21 years ago for $78 million. $72 million. And 21 years later, you technically get it for $50 million, which is a bargain.
Our market cap today is, right now, because I look at the stock, is probably 194. We've got $150 million in cash in the bank. We've got what a lot of people don't know. We've got an unbelievable management company that manages a tremendous amount of real estate in New York. We're going to expand that business. We're going to bring it down to Florida. There's a real void in that market. You can acquire other businesses at reasonable multiples and then put Douglas Elliman's name on it, and we're going to take that business national.
You were on the board for 4 years. A lot of the changes that you wanted to make, were you voicing these changes and some of the stuff that you want to implement now? Were you sort of trying to implement those while you were on the board, or was that trying?
Yeah, I mean, let me just say this. I have a lot of friends that are here that I see. It's very hard for me to hold back when I have opinions. All business, and I look at a lot of different businesses, and I think there's a lot of things that I can add to certain businesses. I think this one, I could add a tremendous amount to. And listen, everybody has a different style, right? I have my own style. Other CEOs of other businesses in this space have their own style. But I think I bring a truly fresh perspective of how I think this business should be. And really, the entire real estate industry, I think it's going through a transformative moment. My dad was in the taxi business, and they never saw Uber coming, believe me, okay? And this business is similar to that, right? There's a lot of transformation. If you said to me 20 years ago that the 6% commission would be basically around, I would have never believed it, okay? It's still here. The insurance business is very similar, too, in distribution, that a lot of things have changed in the back end, but not in the front end. And I think at Douglas Elliman, a lot of things have changed in the back end and the front end. There's a lot more that we want to do. There's a lot more technology that we want to bring to it. But my example of the taxi business in Uber, there are some similarities. I wouldn't worry if I was everybody out there. But I will tell you, Douglas Elliman, from here on in, will be out in front of that, okay? And we will not be sitting waiting to get our clocks clean. We're going to be ahead of it.
When you first came on board, you made immediate changes. You made immediate changes to the management, right? So Scott Durkin's no longer with the company. Obviously, Howard had to step down. A lot of people were sort of worried that you're going to come and just like clear house and bring your own sort of management to to the front. And there was a rumor that you guys had hired executive recruiting firm, but that was only for your for the CTO of the company. And that's the extent of the changes, or are there plans for more changes?
I would say that we're going to be a company that is constantly changing, constantly changing, constantly evolving. You always have to be looking over your shoulder to see who's coming to get you. And we're going to play offense every day in this business. And if offense in this business is hiring more talent, bringing in more people, people internally that we don't think fit our culture, right? Our culture is very important to us. It's like CBAG, culture, brand, agent, growth. That's how we have to be thinking. We have to be thinking about it every single day.
When we spoke, the first time we spoke, you said, I really like this company. This is why I took the role. I really see opportunity for it, and I know exactly what to do. When I hear that from a finance person, I think of a person coming in, cutting costs, and increasing profits, and then putting it back on the market for a flip. But what did you mean when you said that I know exactly what to do with this company?
Yeah, I mean, some of the things that I have already said. I mean, we've got to be ahead on technology. I think we've got to evolve with the changing landscape of the business. And I think we want quality over quantity. Okay, we don't need to be a recruiting machine.
Yeah.
Right? There are other firms out there that are going to do what they do. We want to worry about the people that are at Douglas Elliman. We want to take our agents, and we have unbelievable agents. The one thing that I have learned in the last 3 weeks, because I've spoken to a lot of them, is those are our entrepreneurs, right? Those are the people that have been giving me the ideas that are unbelievable, and they're my partners in this, right? I can't do this myself, but I've got a group of agents within that company that are really the ones that are going to help me get it to the next level.
Yeah, and one of the challenges with the tech and real estate is that at the end of the day, real estate is a real asset that you have to trade. A lot of companies have come out in the past that said they're tech focused and their technology is going to really set them apart from everybody else. But at the end of the day, when you look at it, most of their websites, maybe some are glossier than others, but at the end of the day, you haven't really seen a brokerage tech really change the way the business is run. Like, what do you plan to do with the tech that's going to be so different from what exists today?
Well, listen, I think you don't want to get away from, people think that the world's going to change, and I've even said it, but there are certain things that don't change, right? You still need somebody to bring you to the property. You still need someone to advise you. And I think the other aspect of the business that I bring to the table, because I was in an advisory business, I literally built a business. I was the first employee. No one in the insurance business ever did what that business did, advising capital market lenders and real estate investment banks. And I literally took it from myself up to a business that I sold for significant 9 figures. And it was an expertise business. The thing that differentiated us was the expertise that we brought to the client. And I think every agent and everyone in this business should be thinking that way. It's all about the expertise, the analytics, all of those things that you're bringing, to the client. So the technology is there, and we've got to continue in technology, but you also can't forget about the fact that you still need that person to advise you. Even with AI, right? Fred did an amazing, panel before on AI that was incredible. He's on the forefront of it. We're going to be on the forefront of it, but you still have to bring it back to, what is the agent themselves doing? Because they're the person that's running the technology.
Yeah, but can you be more specific about the technology that you would like to apply? Is there anything specific? Because,
well, listen, I think AI obviously has something to do with it. Obviously, there's significant back office technology in terms of at Douglas Elliman to be making that more efficient. But we're going to be looking at everything. I mean, I've been doing this for 3 weeks. I think maybe I've slept like 3 hours a night so far. I used to play a lot of paddle. Everybody thinks my paddle game is over. But it's not over. And, we're looking at a lot of different technology platforms that hire that, you mentioned before that everybody thought was a CEO. It was a CTO. It was a new chief technology officer. I'm the CEO of this business. I'm not going anywhere. I'm committed to it. So, we're basically working on all our plans now, but I'm sure with you guys, everybody's going to hear exactly what we're doing every second of the way. Okay. I never thought I really had to manage. Just so you know, I came in, I thought I was managing a business. I've got, all right, the agents, new development, technology. I didn't know that I also had to manage, the real deal. So, but I'm going to make it fun. I want to make it fun.
Well, a lot of the sort of the AI that I've seen with brokerages, it's mostly sort of generative language, and it's not really that great. I mean, we apply it to the Real Deal website. It's fun, it's good to have, but it's not like market changing. But I hope that you guys do something that's revolutionary with it. It would be interesting to see. Your general attitude about the brokerage business, like you mentioned, you have the insurance background. You're currently the CEO and the chairman of another public company, which is incredible. I can barely run one business.
I will tell you, I was in my 20s. I was a CEO of 4 different companies at the same time. I don't plan on doing that here. That company that you mentioned is purely an investment vehicle that is looking for a specific deal. And once that deal comes, I then get off, leave, and the people that we did the merger with stay on. So I'm 100% committed to Douglas Elliman, but we are going to be acquisitive. Okay, mergers and acquisitions is something that I've done my whole career. At NFP, we did, when I was there, over 400 acquisitions. With my smaller insurance businesses, we did acquisitions. But we want to be really disciplined, really smart. It's got to be accretive, and it's got to add to our agents, right? So if we buy an insurance business, if we buy a staging business, if we expand in title, relocation, it's going to be things that sit around the agent, because our agents need to make more money, okay, and have additional revenue streams. Very important. I think I look at us, Douglas Elliman, as bringing the practice management as well to the agents, right? Because they're unbelievable entrepreneurs. They're smart. Like, we've got some teams that are amazing. Like, Julie is here. She has a bat phone now in her house, so I could call her. You just pick up the phone. You remember on Batman? And they're unbelievable entrepreneurs. I will tell you, I have met leaders of these teams. Unbelievable how entrepreneurial they are. And for us, we want to support them. We want to support those teams.
You brought Julia up, so maybe it's a good time to bring this up. Julia came in. Julia Spillman, by the way, if people don't know.
We're going to embarrass
this young lady in the red dress. Frederick Eklund Gomes' team was doing really well. They hired Julia. Their business exploded. Clearly, she was an effective CEO for that business and for that team. Why not bring somebody who has the experience of building teams, working with brokers, understanding clients, sellers, buyers? Why not somebody like Julia Spillman come in to be the CEO of the company who understands the business internally?
Wait, you mean instead of me or in addition to me?
Listen, you're a busy guy.
I've done a lot. I've done a lot of things, right? So I didn't have to do this, right? I did it because I wanted to do it. But obviously, we have a public company, and again, it really comes down to what I mentioned before, right? The key is diversification, adding other businesses to it. If you look at the other publicly traded real estate only brokers, does not look like a great, I don't know how much you want to invest in a company that says they're only going to be a residential real estate brokerage and that's all they're going to do. You've got to diversify your revenue stream. So let me say this, okay? Obviously, there are always going to be amazing people. We just talked about one, right? We talked about the executive, the C-suite at Douglas Elliman. That is going to expand, okay? We want to expand that C-suite. But you also need someone, I'm not promoting myself, I'll just say it because you asked, okay? Like myself, that really has, number one, knows how to operate a public company, okay? Understands the M&A piece of this whole thing. But we are going to have many more CEO level people, and we've got multiple businesses, right? So those multiple businesses will have CEOs, and we're going to operate in a very, very collaborative way. Like I said before, I can't do this all myself. I need to be collaborating with my team, and I think that it's really going to be a new day at Douglas Elliman in terms of that collaboration.
Don't you feel like, in the past, other brokerages have said, hey, we're going to offer staging. Hey, we're going to offer sort of title. That's sort of happened in the past. I mean, are you planning to do it in a different way?
Listen, I think the reality is and everything in life, it's an execution play, right? So you've got to execute. Like as I said, I've been on the board there for 4 years. I've been involved in a lot of businesses. It's rare, everybody does a lot of talking, okay? But it's truly about executing. And I've done it before, right? So I'm not coming there in here and saying that this is some science project for me, right? I've done this before. I know exactly what to do. Douglas Elliman is actually in great shape. We've got a great balance sheet. I think we've got a leading position in this market. I think there's a lot further to go in terms of where we are domestically, in terms of expansion. But we're going to expand from an ROI perspective. It's going to be all about ROI. And again, like I said, it's about quality. Okay, so we don't need to go out and recruit thousands of agents. I want to worry about the agents that we have, be very methodical. We have the financial flexibility to do that, and that's what we're going to do.
And so does that mean you're going to be cutting down on the number of offices that you have?
Listen, I think
you have 6,600 brokers right now.
We have a lot of brokers. We have a lot of brokers, and we have a lot of offices, right? So I'm all about investing in the business, right? But you also want to cut some dead leases that you've got. So we'll do that. We'll combine, leases when we can, when leases roll off. Some will renew, some we won't renew, but some we like. But I will tell you, I have never been a cut to prosperity. You can't do that. You got to invest in the business. We're going to do it, but we're going to do it smart. Listen, we spend, and I don't want to tell everybody what we spend on technology and we spend on marketing, but we spend a lot. And you know what? We should be getting a lot more for what we're spending on. So I'm not cutting the budget, but I'm going to get more out of the money that we're spending. We're going to do it smarter, and we're going to get more bang for our buck.
And since you don't have really experience to understand like what level of marketing it takes for the level of success that Elliman has, I mean, they're doing $50 billion in sales, so it's working to some degree. But what are you comparing that to? What are you comparing the marketing or the tech that they currently have to?
We are in the middle of the analysis, right? So, as I mentioned, we're looking for a new CTO. Our marketing people are amazing. I think they're great. But again, listen, you go into a new business, you look at everything, right? We are looking at everything, but we're going to be smart about it. We're not going to be a bull in a china shop. The company's in very good shape. Our brand is incredible, and we're going to just basically accentuate all of that.
What's your relationship now like with Howard Lorber?
I've known Howard for a long time, and my relationship is good with him.
And when the board chose you as the person to come and lead the charge, did you volunteer yourself, or did somebody recommend you, or you threw your own hat in the ring? How did that work?
No. I mean, listen, you don't sit on a public company board with a CEO over 60, let alone over 70, without having conversations about succession planning. That's just a normal part of what you do. If you're not a responsible board. So, we had those conversations. One of the board members turned to me and said, I don't think you would be that crazy. We know you don't need it. We don't know you don't need to do this. Would you do it? I kind of shook my head about it, and we got off the phone, and that was it. And then they asked again, and then they asked one more time, and then I thought about it, and I just thought about it from my standpoint. I'm 55 years old. Okay, I've had a lot of business success already. Douglas Elliman is just, again, I really believe that there's a lot more to do. And I think the company, like I said, it was a company that was in good shape, financially. The brand I am just so excited about taking this brand to another level. And I also really believe, I want to be a nice guy. I don't want to knock our competition. I don't want to say anything bad, but I just think there's a lot better way to do this. And I think that you're going to see a lot of action going on at Douglas Elliman.
When you took the role, did Howard call you to congratulate you, or did he say anything to you? Did he give you any advice?
Very, very congratulatory, yeah.
Did he give you any advice? Were you willing to take
said, I don't need it. Truthfully, he said, you don't need it.
Well, Howard was famous for being very hands-on. Like, you would go into his office. He's very good friends with the, next president of the United States, as you know. You would go into his office, he's talking to the governor, and then in between the governor and, some other famous person, an agent calls him and says, hey, Howard, I have this client. Can you talk to them? And Howard would be like, yes. I mean, he was extremely hands-on. Like, what's your style going to be like?
I will tell you, in my insurance business, I used to say it all the time. I would get 500 emails a day, and I return every one of them. Okay, and there's some Douglas Elliman people here, I'm sure, but I said that I only slept like 3 hours a night since I've done this. I don't know how many people I've spoken to in the last couple of weeks, but it's been a lot. And so much so that I'm really tired of hearing myself talk. I mean, I can't do it anymore, but I love the action. I love getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and there are people here that actually showed me a text that they got from me at 4:30 in the morning. I'm unbelievably accessible. I was like that my whole life. But I've also gotten older, and I've learned, you've got to institutionally run a business, right? A business can't be about one person. That's like kind of like a big, to say it to everybody here, that's like a big team, right? We don't want to be a big team. We are going to be, the company that we are. I am not going to be the center of it. I think our agents are unbelievable at promoting themselves, being on the TV shows, being the superstars. I don't need to be the superstars, but I could tell you they can be really relaxed with me at the helm, okay? Because it's going to be a business that's going to be run the right way with character, integrity, and we're going to make a lot of money.
We mentioned earlier in my intro that Douglas Elliman had to deal with a lot of tough headlines in the last 5-6 months. The Alexanders were obviously a big part of that. They were with Douglas Elliman for a long time. They were roughly 4% of the business of Douglas Elliman, which is tremendous for a team. And then they left. And after they left, they were accused of a lot of things. And do you feel that, making these changes, having somebody like you come on, do you think that sort of cleans the slate for Douglas Elliman?
I don't know if I look forward. All of those things were before my time. I just know that I've met hundreds of employees, hundreds and hundreds of agents, and they're amazing people. And that's what we're focused on.
But when this whole thing came out, obviously they weren't with Douglas Elliman anymore, but the board was very much aware of everything that was happening. They thought that there could be some reverb coming back to Douglas Elliman because they were there for so long.
No, not really. No, I mean, I was on like I said, I was on the board. We didn't really think about, obviously we think about a lot of things. We're focused on the business. But, we're moving forward. They left years before. I think they were gone a couple of months when I was on the board. I think it was a couple of months later. So I never had any exposure to them at all. And, it's a new day. We're going forward.
And have the brokerage community outside of Elliman, obviously, have the brokerage heads reached out to you to congratulate you or to get to know you? What's been the response?
There has been no shortage of phone calls on my phone. Oh, no. Most of them have. Very gracious, I will tell you. Really gracious. A couple of people that I went to kindergarten with called me, saw articles. But no, everybody has been gracious, and friends of mine. And again, I've been around Douglas Elliman, so I know a lot of people there. So for me, it's kind of been I'll tell you the one thing that has been really amazing is that in my other businesses, as I said, I was the first employee in most of them, so I started those businesses from nothing. Here I came in. And the thing that's been really the best part of it is the people, right? So I have met, I was at 575 Madison all week. The amount of support and the amount of, from all of the people at Douglas Elliman is I feel like I'm not doing this alone, right? Those businesses I kind of started and I did it alone. And here I've just got such an unbelievable outpouring of people that are helping, and I don't know what to do with. It's like I have so many people doing things for me. One of them here is Steve Larkin, who's a great guy. And has been really helpful to me. And I could go through the list. There's a lot of people at Douglas Elliman that are really amazing. So I actually feel like this is going to be easier. Starting a business from zero, that's hard, right? I took a business, I was the first employee. I created this name on my own. Okay, I even we did an ad. I got JP Morgan as a client by an ad that I wrote because I didn't have any money. I basically had no money to pay a marketing firm that I wrote. And I ended up getting JP Morgan as a client. It became a huge business. And I really had to do it on my own. So for me, everybody says to me, is it hard? Is it difficult? It's it's fun. I'm not a masochist, but it really is a lot of fun. And the amount of support that I've got from the people at the company is really amazing. So,
sorry, let me take this water.
Am I actually wearing you down? I love it. This is great. That should be in the real deal.
Yeah, that'll be the promo. That'll be in the teaser. But so Brad Turpak is one of the shareholders of Douglas Elliman. He is the guy who got a lot of attention for saying, why is Howard Lorber making so much money when the company has 9 consecutive sort of losing quarters? You were on the board for the last 4 years. You sort of saw those pay packages. Did anybody ever raise a red flag when those big checks were being written, or were you guys first aware of it, or you thought you should address it when Brad reached out to you?
Yeah, so Brad actually lives in Aspen, okay? So when it came out, I was in Aspen for the summer, okay? So I'm like, who's this guy? I don't know who he is. He's in Aspen. I thought he raised some good points. As a matter of fact, Brad called me the day it was announced. I probably was on the phone with him for probably about an hour. He was a great guy. We got along great. I'm actually going to have dinner with him in Aspen. He's really supportive of everything that I'm doing. He was really happy that I was the one that was chosen as the CEO, and he's a good guy.
All right. Lastly, should we be buying Douglas Elliman stock? I mean, it's a little under $2 right now. Do you think it can double?
202.
202. So wait, give us a little final thoughts on Douglas Elliman.
This is what I would say about our stock. Number one, I can't tell you to buy it or sell it. I would never do anything like that. The only thing I could tell you is I think I've articulated a little bit about what I plan on doing with the company. I'm not in this because I think it's going to stay a $2 stock. I think I'll leave it at that.
Well, it's very brave of you. I know you've only been in the business. You've only been in the business for a few weeks, and we had to sort of convince you to come on stage. You did great. I think it was so great to create this transparency. Obviously, this is going to go on our site, and there's a lot of Elliman agents here who are hearing it directly from you. So I really appreciate you being out here today. Thank you, Michael.
My pleasure. Thank you, Amir. I really appreciate it. And thank you.